Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is Vigorelli Institute. Now, I put a poll out on YouTube a little while ago for a movie that I should review. This guy won. I got this on the cheap. It's excellent. Now, I just finished the very first half of it. We're in the intermission right now, and that is going to be... Come here, you. This disc right here. Yeah, this came out in 1959, by the way. One of the best movies in history, as many people will tell you. This one's right here. So let's dive into the very first half. Take a look. Now, this takes place during the Roman occupation of Judea, what we now call Israel. Okay? And it starts off right at about the birth of Jesus. Okay? So this is during the reign of Octavian. Okay? It goes through the whole mesh, starts talking about the birth of Jesus, and then we divert and we go to a guy named Judah Ben Hur. He is a Judean, a Jew, if you will, and he is rather sympathetic to the Romans. Like, these guys ain't so bad, okay? They got nice things. It's that bit from Monty Python, they're bringing order, money, wine, etc., 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 into the area. This ain't so bad. One of his friends happens to be Roman, and I get into a discussion regarding the nature of rulers, the state, and God. And his friend, who by the way is very Romanized, says to him, dude, the emperor is God. The state is what you should worship. Okay? He's alive. We have him. Okay? And it's awesome. Let's dive into it. He says, you can't be serious. You're like me. He says, I am serious, and don't be a jerk. So fast forward a little bit, and Ben Hur is out with a couple of women. Wasn't entirely sure who they were. I think family members or servants or something. And this tile falls from a ceiling, hits a guy on the head. He's done. So he goes over, he's administering to it, and he gets accused of attacking the guy. He says, no, man, it was an accident. We don't care. So his friend happens to be there, and they've had their falling out, and he walks over, looks at him, and just, I don't care, and takes off. Okay? Well, he gets taken to jail, and the women get left alone. His friend goes up to the rooftop, examines the tiles, like, yeah, they're loose, but he's not going to say anything. Okay? So Ben Hur goes to the prison, and they said, well, we're going to execute you. Why? What did I do? No, we just want you done. Don't I get a trial? No. He's not happy about this, so they bind him to take him to execution, and he manages to break free, kills a couple of the guards, and kinda, sorta-ish escapes. He goes to confront his friend, they recapture him, and he gets shipped off as a slave. Now he's walking through the Judean desert on his way to probably Caesarea, if I remember correctly. Where he'll be loaded onto a ship. Okay? Well, he's dying of thirst because the guards won't let him drink anything even when they stop for water. So this guy walks up to him, hands him a cup of water, and says, here, drink up. That's Jesus. Okay, so we are in the reign of Tiberius at this point. Okay? We never actually see Jesus' face, but we are definitely led to believe that it is him. So he goes off and gets put on a warship as an oarsman. Okay, he is a slave. Okay, yeah. So they're rowing. They get into a fight with this invading army, and they win but basically lose too. Only him and we'll use the word captain of the ship survive. He actually saves the guy's life. They get picked up by Romans, taken back to Rome. He meets the emperor. Emperor says, thank you for saving his life. You're free to go. So he gets, in exchange for saving the guy's life, he gets money, he gets land, he gets a title. Life is good. So he goes back to Judea, and when he gets home, he's basically reinstated as a person, and he goes to this guy's property, and he's got 4 racing horses. Okay, this is where we start to bring up the side plot of the chariot race. Very famous for this movie. Okay, this guy is Arab, from what I can tell, and having a hell of a time with the horses. Okay, the guy being the charioteer is an idiot and can't run it, so Ben Hur shows the guy what to do with the horses, takes control, he takes them, and the owner says, you're cool, I like you, let's be friends. So brings them in, they drink, they eat, they're buddies now, okay? Well, then things kind of slow down a little bit. A lot of setup, a lot of conversations for what is coming up in the second disc. Now, this movie is a solid 4 hours long. This is a honker. In fact, the first 5-10 minutes of the movie is a thing called overture. It's just Michelangelo or Da Vinci, I can't remember who it is. But it's one where God's reaching out and man is like this, and God's like this, and man just has to go, well, you're from this angle. Okay. He's like, just got to do that, and he connects. It's that. It's just music. Back then, they didn't do previews. So this was, it's time to start. Get your butt in the seat. If you need to, go get your drink or popcorn or whatever, but make ready, okay? Because it's going to start. Then the actual movie starts and we launch it, okay? So I'm excited to watch the second half. I will be back very shortly. See you then. And we're back. So I've just spent the last couple of hours after recording the first half of this video watching the second disc of Ben Hur. That's upside down. There we go. Good job, Richard. Anyway, really good movie. Very much so enjoyed it. So the second half opens up in an intermission, so it's just like the first. Now, at this time, because this thing is so freaking long, like, you know what? People might need to tinkle. So give them, 5-10 minutes to go off, let the stuff out, maybe grab some refreshments and come back. Okay? So afterwards, we open up, we are in Judea, and it is getting pretty close for a chariot race. So, the great chariot race happens, and he fights against a Roman. Now, there's guys from like Phrygia, Greece, Carthage, etc. We look on them maybe once, twice top end, but it's between Ben Hur of Judea and this Roman dude. Used to be his friend. Anyway, the Romans got this spike on his chariot wheels that basically turns it into a big old auger, okay? So that he pulls up beside you and just burns off and just cuts your wheel off. You fall down, get hurt, die, whatever, he doesn't care, okay? So, he tries doing this to good old Benny, and gets his. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it's pretty hardcore, especially for 1959. Okay? Part of me wonders why we can't have chariot races. They were cool. Probably an animal thing. Anyway, moving on. So, Ben Hur confronts the guy after the race. He's all pretty well screwed up, and that's all. Okay? Well, after winning the race, he gets his award from the governor. Governor says, "Good job, dude. Proud of you. Might get to meet the emperor one day. Look upon the people. They now believe you're a god." He's going like, okay. Anyway, afterwards, he goes off to a place called a leper colony. Okay, and this is important for the end of the movie. He discovers that sister and mother, who, by the way, were the women, I'm sorry I didn't catch that part earlier, they are now lepers. They're living in a cave, basically with bits falling off of them ever so slowly. Okay, so he goes in them, he sees them, he's brokenhearted. I think it's his wife, says, no, don't go. Okay, fine. So he's now despondent. All of this fame and fortune that he's won out of since beating back being a slave comes up, and he is angry. Okay? And she says, there was a guy talking a little while ago. He was really cool. Yeah, we actually get to see the Sermon on the Mount in this movie. Very famous scene in cinematic history, by the way. Highly recommended. Now, she was there. She heard him speak. He wasn't. And she says, he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the merciful." Okay? She goes through the Beatitudes. And he says, "Yeah, that's great. Bad guys here now. And everybody that supported them, including me, is guilty." Self-loathing Jew, imagine that. Anyway, she basically opens up his heart, and we go through a few more conversations until we get to the procession of the cross. Okay? And he's actually there watching Jesus carry the cross through the streets of Jerusalem. Okay? He falls, he leans down to offer him some water, and the guardsman who's there kicks the water out of Ben's hand and says, "Pick up your cross, get moving." And he's like, well, okay. So he watches most of the crucifixion, and he asks his friend, "What did this guy do?" He says something to the effect of heresy, yada yada. Okay. Well, Jesus dies on the cross, and it rains. Okay. Well, the rain is covering basically the entire province. Okay. So the leper colony, the people that walk out into the rain, they are washed clean of their disease. And now, that's the end of the movie. We got an ending shot of the 3 crosses on Golgotha. Yeah, if you're big into proto-Catholicism, interesting, great stuff. Even New World Christians probably really like this. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how I feel about it. I think it's a beautiful piece of cinema. Okay, so I do highly recommend this movie. So let's get into some of my critiques, all right? Now, one of the things you find with Middle Eastern peoples, even up to now, is the difference between Jews and Arabs and pretty much anybody else is very, very blurry. Most can't tell the difference between them, so you get a lot of stuff that is anachronistic, even not cultural, okay? And anybody who knows, they look at it and they're just like, okay. No. All right. It's like Stalin eating spaghetti at the at Windsor Palace in 1640 after winning the Battle of Hastings. Yeah, it's that accurate. Okay? Well, they all look the same. It's fine. No, it isn't. It really isn't. You look like an idiot to anybody who knows what they're looking at, and it's annoying. That's just kind of my pet peeve. Not only that, not only with the cultural depictions, but a lot of the stuff that they were wearing was also anachronistic, meaning it was out of place, like, say, 1,000 years early, especially with the Arab that owned the chariots, that owned Ben's chariot. His headdress and all of that actually wouldn't show up until the early Hijazi culture showed up, and yeah, a little soon. Anyway, moving on. You also do have to understand that Ben Hur is a product of the late 1950s, okay? Moving into the early 1960s, okay? I know a lot of people don't like this, but Christianity was kind of a big thing back then, okay? Deal with it, okay? It is a good show. The cinematography on it is absolutely gorgeous. There's not modern music in every freaking scene. It's not like I'm listening to a freaking radio as I'm watching this movie. There's some scenes that have no music whatsoever, and they work beautifully. Okay? Yes, music should convey tone. Okay? If you are going to do that, my sincere recommendation is instrumentals only. Okay? Or any music you have in the movie should be in the movie, meaning it is being played by people actively in the plot, okay? Such as trumpeteers, okay? Had plenty of those, worked out beautifully in the stadium, okay? In the first part, when he's escaping from the jail, it is dark, it is very difficult to see anything going on. There's no music whatsoever. We only get flashes of him coming through because of the way the light's set up. The point of that is to show you it's dark, it's difficult, he's kind of barely sort of getting by, and he needs to be quiet. It was fantastic. Okay? Nowadays, people would complain, oh, it's too dark, I can't see anything, day for night. And you're just like, oh. You know nothing. Okay? There's a reason why. What, nearly 70 years later, I'm doing a review on this? It's because it's good. The new one isn't bad. I've seen that one too. But it's not the greatest show in history. This is by far the superior product. Okay? Highly recommended. If you get the chance, find it, get it for your collection. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And that's all I've got to say on it today. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, yell at me in the comments, whatever. Links are in the description for my Twitter and also my website. Lots of stuff on my website. I've got tours, I've got books, I've got Chinese astrological readings. Yes, you do need to pay first. I don't work for free. Nobody should. So there. All right? Excuse me. So I'll be back later. You take care. Bye-bye.